Look at a typical family scene of our time. Parents and children sit at the same table, but each in their own digital world. Mom checks work emails, dad scrolls through the news feed, and the children vainly try to attract their attention. This phenomenon has been dubbed technoference, the interference of technology in live communication between parents and children. A smartphone in an adult's hands becomes an invisible wall, separating the closest people. Modern parents are physically present with their children, but emotionally and mentally, they are often somewhere far away, in the digital space. Research shows a disturbing trend. The average adult checks their phone 80 to 150 times a day, and a significant portion of these checks occur in the presence of children. Each such distraction is a moment of broken connection, a missed opportunity for emotional contact. In a world where digital technologies have become an integral part of life, we increasingly encounter a paradox. Devices designed to connect people actually disconnect those who are nearby. The figures are shocking. Modern parents check their phones an average of 80 to 150 times a day. A study conducted by the University of Michigan showed that 70% of parents admit to using mobile devices during meals with their children. Even more alarming data was obtained by scientists at Boston University. The typical parent spends about 2.5 hours a day immersed in their smartphone while being near their child. Moreover, every third interaction between a parent and a toddler is interrupted due to a phone notification. This statistic reflects the scale of a problem that is growing every year. 10 years ago, such data simply did not exist. Today, technoference has become a global phenomenon. Morning breakfast, when dad reads the news on his phone instead of interacting with the children. A playground where mothers sit on a bench, glued to their screens, occasionally looking up at their playing toddlers. A family dinner interrupted by notification sounds and business calls. Evening story time, when a parent simultaneously responds to messages in a messenger. These scenes have become so commonplace that we have stopped noticing their abnormality. Particularly alarming is the trend towards normalizing such behavior. Almost 60% of parents consider it acceptable to be distracted by their phone while interacting with their child. Technoference has imperceptibly penetrated the very heart of family life, becoming an invisible but constant companion of 21st century parenthood. "Are you even listening to me?" asks 6-year-old Sonia, tugging at her mother's sleeve. The mother nods, not taking her eyes off the screen. "You don't even know what I said," the girl remarks with resentment. This dialogue is not fiction, but a reality recorded by psychologists observing families. Studies show that children don't just notice our digital detachment, they deeply experience it. According to surveys conducted among children aged 4 to 12, over 70% of youngsters feel that the phone is more important to parents than I am. Psychologists note that children unfailingly recognize when an adult is merely feigning attention, while mentally remaining in the digital space. Young children react to technoference by attempting to physically attract attention, pulling at clothes, raising their voice, climbing onto laps. Teenagers, however, often choose the opposite strategy. They withdraw, retreating into their own digital world. "Why talk if no one is listening to me anyway?" is a typical phrase from interviews with teenagers. Children find situations particularly painful when a parent interrupts an ongoing conversation to respond to a message. In such moments, the child receives a non-verbal signal. "What's happening on the phone is more important than you." Repeating day after day, these episodes form in children a persistent feeling of secondary importance, of being unneeded. Brain activity studies show that at the moment a parent is distracted by the phone, the same brain areas are activated in the child as when experiencing rejection. The little person literally feels abandoned, even if the adult is physically nearby. "I can perfectly well do several things at once," many parents confidently declare, sending a message with one hand, stirring soup with the other, and simultaneously answering a child's question. However, science categorically disagrees with this statement. Research in cognitive psychology proves multitasking is a myth. Our brain is not capable of simultaneously processing several streams of information with equal efficiency. Instead of parallel work, there is a rapid switching between tasks, and each such switch has its cognitive cost. Professor of neuroscience at the University of California, Earl Miller, explains, "Moreover, each switch reduces the brain's efficiency by 30% and increases the likelihood of errors." For parents, this means a simple truth. It is impossible to communicate effectively with a child while simultaneously immersing oneself in a smartphone. Even a brief check of messages requires a complete shift of attention. After such a distraction, the brain needs about 23 seconds to fully return to the previous task. Now imagine, the average parent checks their phone every 4.5 minutes. This means that for a significant part of the time interacting with a child, the adult is in a state of cognitive dispersion, not being fully engaged in either communication or digital activity. Studies show that parents who practice multitasking demonstrate less emotional responsiveness, ask fewer questions, and less often develop topics suggested by their children. A child's brain is an amazing instrument, tuned for social interaction. From the first moments of life, infants are literally programmed to seek eye contact, react to adult facial expressions, and pick up on the subtlest nuances of emotion. Neurobiological studies show that it is precisely in moments of live communication with parents that key neural connections, determining all further development, are formed. Technophoresis strikes at the most vulnerable point, the formation of secure attachment. When a mother or father is constantly distracted by their phone, the child's brain receives conflicting signals. The parent is physically present, but emotionally unavailable. This creates a pattern of intermittent, insecure attachment. Dr. Catherine Steiner-Adair, author of research on the impact of digital devices on children, notes, "Infants are especially sensitive to a parent's detached gaze. When an adult looks at their phone instead of maintaining eye contact, the baby experiences real stress. This stress is not just temporary discomfort. It affects cortisol levels in the child's body and can lead to long-term changes in the nervous system's functioning. Children under 3 are especially vulnerable, as this is when the basic structures of the emotional brain are formed." Speech development also suffers from technophoresis. Research shows that parents engrossed in smartphones use fewer words when communicating with their children, answer their questions less often, and are less involved in shared reading. This directly impacts toddlers' vocabulary and their ability to express thoughts. Neuroimaging reveals an astonishing fact. When a parent is fully present in communication with their child, certain neural patterns synchronize in both their brains. This neural synchronization is a key mechanism for learning and emotional development, which is disrupted by technophoresis. Do as I say, not as I do. This parental paradox is particularly vivid when it comes to digital devices. Modern parents set strict screen time rules for their children, yet they themselves don't let go of their smartphones for hours. Psychologists call this contradictory modeling, and the consequences of such an approach can be destructive for the formation of healthy habits in the younger generation. Children learn not so much from our words as from our actions. 7-year-old Marina, observing her mother check her phone every 5 minutes, absorbs this behavior pattern much more deeply than all parental lectures about the harms of gadgets. Studies show that in families where parents demonstrate a high dependence on devices, children are 4 times more likely to develop similar problematic technology use patterns. Our brains are biologically programmed for imitation. This is how humanity has survived for millennia. Young children literally scan parental behavior to understand how the world works. When a child sees an adult rush to their phone at every notification sound, they learn digital signals have the highest priority. They are more important than live communication. This model is so deeply imprinted into neural connections that no verbal admonitions can outweigh it. Experiments with preschoolers are particularly telling. When children are offered to play family, they often imitate parents engrossed in imaginary phones and ignoring their children. This is a mirror that shows us how our closest people see us. Modern parents live in a constant conflict of expectations. On one hand, there's the employer demanding availability at all hours, and on the other, the family needing full presence. This dilemma creates an internal tension that many don't even realize. We check work emails during family dinners, respond to colleagues' messages while playing with children, and mentally plan work while reading a bedtime story to our little one. The culture of constant availability is deeply ingrained in modern society. This unspoken corporate principle forces millions of parents to live in a state of constant anxiety. Psychologists call this phenomenon the fear of missing an important message, email, or call. This fear activates the same mechanisms in the brain as classic anxiety disorders, making us check our devices again and again. Each notification triggers a release of dopamine, a pleasure neurotransmitter, forming a true vicious cycle of addiction. Besides work demands, there's also social pressure. Not responding to a message in a parent's group chat, missing a comment under a friend's photo, or not reacting to news on a social network. All of this is perceived as a violation of modern digital etiquette. As a result, parents are constantly torn between the real and virtual worlds, not fully present in either. Psychologists call this state partial presence, when a person is physically in one place but mentally somewhere else entirely. 9 p.m. The children are already asleep, and I'm still answering work emails. This phrase has become commonplace for millions of modern parents. Professional tech interference is a special form of digital intrusion into family life, associated with the transformation of the very concept of working hours. In the digital age, the boundaries between office and home have blurred beyond recognition. The smartphone has turned us into employees 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The corporate culture of many companies implies an unspoken rule. A good employee is always available. An evening call from the boss, an urgent email on a weekend, a message in a work chat during family dinner, all of this is perceived as a norm of modern professional life. Studies show that 84% of parents are regularly distracted by work issues while interacting with their children. At the same time, 67% experience guilt but continue to do so out of fear of professional consequences. Parents find themselves in a trap. Ignore work messages, risk their career, respond to them, sacrifice the quality of family relationships. This dilemma has no simple solution, especially in conditions of growing economic instability and competition in the labor market. The ideal mom on Instagram is not just a hashtag, but an entire cultural phenomenon of our time. Millions of parents daily post photos of their children, family events, and touching moments. But what lurks behind this digital facade of parenthood? Psychologists call this phenomenon sharenting, from the English words share and parenting. The paradox of modern digital parenting lies in the fact that the desire to capture and share beautiful moments with children often destroys those very moments. A mother asks her 3-year-old daughter to repeat a cute gesture to film the perfect video. A father interrupts playing with his son to post a photo on social media. A family hike turns into a photo shoot for Instagram. Behind each such action lies a deep psychological need for social approval and recognition. Likes and comments under children's photos become, for many parents, a measure of their success in their parental role. Studies show that 80% of modern parents regularly publish content about their children, and 45% admit that they do so to receive positive feedback. At the same time, children themselves often feel like objects, not participants, in this process. "Mom, are you filming me again?" A phrase increasingly heard from preschoolers. Children intuitively understand, in these moments, the parent is not so much interacting with them as creating content for a virtual audience. In a world where digital devices have become an extension of our hands, returning to the present moment requires conscious effort and a specific strategy. Mindful parenting begins with a simple step: acknowledging the problem of technophilia in your family. An honest conversation with yourself. How often do I get distracted by my phone while interacting with my child? What do I feel then? What does my child feel? The first practical step can be the creation of screen-free zones in the home. The dining table, the children's room, the bedroom. These spaces can become territories for live communication. Many families successfully implement digital baskets, a place where all family members put their devices when entering a screen-free zone. It is equally important to define screen-free time. Morning hours before school, family dinner, bedtime. These periods can be fully dedicated to each other without digital intrusions. Studies show that even 30 minutes of full attention daily significantly strengthens the emotional bond with a child. Regular digital detoxes are another effective strategy. Weekends without internet, vacations with a minimum of gadgets, or even one screen-free evening a week. Such periods help the whole family rediscover the joy of live communication. Mindfulness practices help return to the present moment even on the busiest days. A simple exercise. Before picking up your phone, take a deep breath and ask yourself, "Is this really necessary right now?" Such a pause often helps to recognize the automatism of our actions and make a conscious choice. Family rituals are a powerful tool for reconnecting. Reading together before bed, Sunday walks, cooking dinner. These simple actions, repeated regularly without digital interruptions, create islands of stability and closeness in a chaotic world. Paradoxically, technology itself may be the most effective solution to the problem of technoference. Digital tools, created to capture our attention, now offer features to protect it. Modern operating systems include built-in screen time control tools. In iOS, it's "Zero", and in Android, it's "Digital Well-Being". These functions allow you not only to track how many minutes you spend with your device, but also to set specific limits. Parents can configure automatic notification muting during family dinner or block certain applications during hours dedicated to children. The Forest app turns digital discipline into a game. While you don't touch your phone, a virtual tree grows on the screen, but if you pick up the device, the tree dies. This simple gamification helps many parents realize how often they reach for their smartphone without real necessity. The "3" mode, with smart settings, allows only truly important calls and messages to come through. For example, you can set the system so that only specific contacts or repeated calls from the same number can interrupt you. Auto-reply functions are especially useful when incoming messages receive a notification that you are currently unavailable and will return to communication later. This relieves the psychological pressure of needing to respond immediately. Smartwatches can be a compromise solution. They allow you to quickly view important notifications without having to fully immerse yourself in your smartphone. Research shows that using specialized applications to control digital consumption reduces overall smartphone usage time by 30%. However, it is important to understand, no digital tool can replace the conscious decision to be truly present in your child's life. Our journey through the world of the Techno-Conference is coming to an end. But in reality, this is just the beginning of conscious parenting in the digital age. We stand on the threshold of a future where technology can both destroy and strengthen family ties. It all depends on the path we choose. The balance between digital and real is not just a trendy term, but a vital necessity for families of the 21st century. This balance is built on three key principles: awareness, boundaries, and consistency. Awareness begins with an honest recognition of one's digital habits and their impact on children. Boundaries are formed through specific rules for device usage, understood by all family members. Consistency requires parents to be a living example of a healthy relationship with technology. Digital devices are tools created to serve us, not to enslave us. In an ideal future world, smartphones and tablets strengthen family ties. They help distant relatives participate in children's lives, preserve precious moments, and expand educational opportunities. But creating such a future requires conscious effort right now. Every time you put down your phone to be fully present in your child's life, you are choosing a connection stronger than any Wi-Fi. Every moment of genuine attention is an investment in your child's emotional well-being and in your relationship. Technology will continue to develop at a dizzying pace, but children's fundamental need for undivided parental attention remains unchanged. In your hands is the opportunity to create a family culture where digital devices know their place and human connections always come first.